Hi there, and welcome to County Talk, boring but important. This is where we talk about the nitty-gritty issues that involve you and your county government. And as a taxpayer, we think you'd want to be aware of all the programs that we offer. So we're going to dive into sort of the inner workings of the county and talk a little bit today about child support. I'm Sue Hansen. I'm one of your 3 elected county commissioners. And I'm here with Chris Sorensen, who's our child support program manager. And child support is, I think we all think we know what child support is because we watch detective, shows and all sorts of things, and we think we know a little bit about it. But it's much more involved than people think. So we want to shed some light on what all that entails. So first, I'd like to ask you, Chris has been involved in child support for a number of years. You used to work at the state level, and now you're here at the county. But there's always, everybody who does a job, there's always some heart reason why you do the job. Why do you do this job?
I think I do the job because I enjoy being able to help people, and I would say that more so with child support services now, we kind of look more at the family as a whole. Mm-hmm. So I like that part a lot better than when I originally got into child support. It was more of an enforcement program, which we do still enforce child support orders, but we do look at the whole family and try to provide other services to them to become more self-sufficient.
Right. So if I think about, a movie I might have seen where they said it's, you have to pay child support, there's always this angst and anger around, I have to pay child support. Mm-hmm. People should be, paying for their kids, right?
Correct.
So, and I think that what we don't understand about child support is how many people you actually do help. So first, let's start with your background. What brings you to Montrose County? What got you into the business in the first place?
In the very first place, I was just looking for a job with benefits back when I was a toddler. No, I'm kidding. So I started my career in Arapahoe County down in Denver, and I actually worked in the file room, and then I became the financial bookkeeper for child support services. Then I went to the state office of child support and became a trainer for the financial program, and then later became the subject matter expert for the intergovernmental program of child support services. So fast forward, I decided to retire, and this job was open in Montrose for the program manager. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to meddle in that now and see how that goes. But yeah, so happy to be here.
It's funny. We have a lot of people that retire.
Yes.
It's like, well, wait, I'm not quite done yet.
Yeah.
I still have a lot of life to go. Well,
yes.
We're glad to have you
well,
because,
thank you.
That energy you bring to the department, the team that you create is really important for getting the services out to taxpayers and people that need the services.
Correct.
So what are child support services? Let's start at the beginning, and how does it occur?
Okay. Well, for child support services, we actually get cases many different ways. They may come to us as a TANF referral, which is public assistance. If someone's receiving public assistance, it's a mandatory referral. Or if there's a foster care case, that is also a mandatory referral to child support services. Folks can also apply for services online. Or they can fill out a paper application and apply on their own.
Mm-hmm. So let's just say I was married and I had a couple of kids, mm-hmm. And I was divorced. I could actually file with child support services so that you would keep track of what my husband and I worked out in terms of our agreement. Is that correct?
Yes. If you have a private agreement, it would have to be an order, child support order, that may have come about through your divorce proceedings. We would enforce that order for you if you apply for child support services. Applying is free of charge, so basically it's just an application process, and then we would enforce that existing order.
Okay. All right. So then in Montrose County, about how many cases are you covering with your team?
Probably around 2,000, and then we do also contract with San Miguel and Uray counties and handle their child support programs as well.
Okay. So you would be, if someone came to the office and you had a referral, you could be connected with this family mm-hmm. for a pretty long time, mm-hmm. right? Because if they came to you as a toddler, they're obligated until the date of emancipation, which would be what?
Age 19 for a Colorado order.
Okay, so you could be involved with families for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were kind of chatting in the green room before, we talked a little bit about one of your team members, John Merritt, who actually does the
Parent coaching.
parent coaching. So tell me a little bit about, because this is where, instead of child support being punitive,
Correct.
it's more supportive. And so tell me what he might do for.
Right. So John's role in our office is more to be a safe place for parties to go talk to them about issues they may be having paying their child support. John provides job searches. We work closely with Hilltop and some of the grant programs that we have in common with Hilltop to provide services. A lot of times, parties will come and meet with John in his office. When we do go to court on an order, John actually goes to all those proceedings and then meets with the parties in the hallway after the court proceeding to give them his business cards and such so that they can contact him if they ever need, some additional support services.
So that might even include him helping them connect with a job.
Yes.
Which is, great. So that then they can continue paying their child support. So
Right.
Great. What's one thing that surprised you about the work as you started it and working with families?
I think one of the biggest surprises for me was all of the emotions that go with it. From the party who's paying to the party who's receiving to grandparents, it's a very large circle and a lot of emotions.
Right. So you're getting people at a very vulnerable time, trying to determine if the child really belongs to this mother, for instance, if she's filing for child support. So your staff experiences some of this emotion as well, right?
Very much.
Right. So how do you deal with that? I mean, how do you make sure that they're taken care of? And
well, I would say that the experience that my legal techs have is great and huge. Everyone has quite a bit of experience in that field. So they've had to deal with parties, ongoing. The issues are always different. I think that they're all similar in a way, but it's not like something that you can read in a book and learn how to take care of because it's very different. But I think they're very well experienced in talking people off the ledge if they're upset about something because they do know the processes. If there's issues, then they come to me, and then we will usually contact the person together or try to work on it together.
So oftentimes you're negotiating to some degree between parents, and as we talked about before COVID, you might have brought two parents in to discuss child support. Tell me about that experience and then why you went virtually.
Okay. So prior to COVID, like Sue said, we did meet people in our offices. We made appointments for negotiation conferences where they would come to the table together, which was never really felt very good, not only for us, but for them, because we felt like we could not concentrate on the issues that we were trying to work through because of the emotions that the two people shared, one way or the other. So after COVID, we did have to go virtual. And so we do all of our negotiation conferences now by Zoom. And that seems to work so much better because even though they're together on the Zoom, they're not sitting next to each other. So we're able to navigate through those conferences a lot easier.
Right, because child support is it's a process, and you're having to find out what somebody's income levels are and who needs to support the kid, who's making more money, that kind of thing. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. I don't think people really understand how much paperwork and the process involved. Can you quickly take us through how that works?
For determining the
Sure.
amount? Yes. So there is what we call a federal guideline that we have to follow. Basically, we get financial information from both parties. In that guideline calculation, we consider who might be paying for childcare, how much each party makes, who might be paying for medical insurance. Are there other children in their homes separately that they might be legally responsible for? Biological children that are not of this relationship, and we actually give credit for that when we're doing this calculation. So it is an automatic calculation that happens on our ACES system, and but we input all the figures, and then it comes up with the amount of who might, and it's not always the father paying the mother. It sometimes can be the mother paying the father.
Sure.
And we do also have to put in there how many overnights each party has, because that does go into the calculation.
So if I have more overnights, then might be more obligated for more to get more money because I would be
Yes.
putting out more.
Anything over 92 overnights.
Okay. All right. So, so the process is not subjective, and I want people to understand that it's very objective. It's based on income, what you're paying for already. That does not include if I went out and bought a brand new pickup truck, and my payment was a lot of money. That would not go into the calculation. Correct?
No, and actually we don't look at any expenses for housing or rent, food. None of the expenses we are not considered. It is strictly each person's financial income. And the overnights, childcare, medical insurance, and credit for other children of the home if they're biological.
Right, and I think that why your work is so important and why I've been so impressed is that first of all, your team really cares, and we want to talk a little bit about your team here in a second, but that this really comes down to the basic need for a kid. And, kids are so important in our community. I mean, and we want to make sure that they get the things that they need. So child support is a mechanism to make sure that we hold parents accountable.
Right.
No matter what happens between the parents, whether they're happy or not happy with each other, the kid shouldn't suffer because of that discord.
Right.
So it's important work.
And thank you. I think that one of the most important things that I want to say is that child support services does not represent either party. And I think that is also something that people think just the person who applies for services, we don't represent that party. We don't represent the other party. We are here to benefit the child or children.
So your only focus is on the kid, and how do we get that for the kid? So I know there are a lot of training goes into this profession. People might not think so, but there's a lot. Can you? I know you have extensive training, and you also do training.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about that.
So there's not a course to go take to learn how to be a child support legal tech. But the state office does offer a lot of training, and we also do require, they require us to have certification training. We do what we call administrative process action, which is where in our office we can establish a child support order without going judicial or going before the courts. They do have to be certified in that, which is an extensive training and certification program. They do have to be certified. The legal techs have to be certified in an enforcement training so that they know the remedies that we use and things like that to encourage payment. And also we do become certified to perform genetic testing.
Okay, so this is like Ancestry 1, 2, 3 or whatever. So
genetic testing is when we are trying to find the legal father of a child or children. Oftentimes we will request genetic testing. A lot of times they're ordered from the courts to come to our office for genetic testing. We don't do genetic testing if just someone comes in and wants to have a genetic test. We do have to have a basis for it. But we do the genetic testing in our office. Usually we test the child or children and the mother of the child first, and then we test an alleged father. Oftentimes we'll have more than one alleged father that we have to join to the action. So then we would test all of the parties.
Okay.
And it's a buccal swab in the mouth. It's not a blood test or anything, but and then we send the sample off to the lab.
Okay, so that's part of the regular procedure. So are there some myths that people misconceptions about child support that you have to clarify for people? What do you think the myths are?
I think there are several. I think one of what I've mentioned about us representing the applicant, that's always the big thing. They think we're on someone's side, and that's just not the case. I think some people think we just choose who's going to be the father, and that is just not even a thing. It's we go through all the genetic testing if we have to. There are several presumptions of parentage as well, which I think people don't understand. You could be considered a parent as a presumption of a child if you're on a Colorado birth certificate. It would have to be a Colorado birth certificate, and also if the parties are married. So oftentimes we will have parties that are married, but maybe separated, and the child was born during their marriage. That person is presumed to be the father.
Okay. Okay. And so they wouldn't not necessarily have to go through all the genetic testing required.
Right.
Okay. For others. So, you have a team of dedicated individuals that work with you.
What a great team.
Obviously, this is important work. Tell us a little bit about your team and how they work together, because I know this is an important month of August, is Child Support Awareness Month. So tell us about the team, and then let's talk a little bit about how you're celebrating and how you're showing that.
Okay. So I have a great team. I have a couple of new people, but I do have John Merritt, who is our parent coach, as we spoke about. I have Michelle McKeon, and she is a legal tech, and Tamika Haywood is a legal tech. Joanne Geist is a legal tech. Paula Bernadas is a legal tech, and Taylor Dean is a legal tech. Missing from one of these pictures is Connie Miller, and she is my financial bookkeeper. She's amazing. She does all of our payment processing, all of our calculations and things like that. So that's my team, and they're a great team. They're very strong.
So it looks like you're having a big party here. Maybe you could explain it. August is
Child Support Awareness Month, and we celebrate Child Support Awareness Month in the month of August every year. This year, we decided to do some fundraising. We usually do some fundraising. We select a different charity every year. This year, we selected the Haven House. And some of the activities in the fundraising that we've done is a bake sale and a Frito pie luncheon, root beer float sales. And then you can see in those pictures all the baskets. We've done donations from very giving businesses around town that have donated, and then we do so to speak, an auction where they just buy tickets. It's tickets for sale, and they put them in the little or bags with what they might want to win, and then we select our winners actually yesterday. So it was very successful.
And I think that, this is all done in-house. This is not like open to the public necessarily, but this is, and I'm always knocked out by how the county employees support this effort. And you get such great prizes, and I think the Haven House is a really great beneficiary. So, glad that they can. And how much money do you think you would raise from that?
I think this year we are right around a little bit over $2,000.
Great.
We'll get to present to them and then we do have a celebration luncheon that we do for our team and the Haven House this year, our charity, and then the commissioners and Katie Jurgensen. That we have this week as well. So that'll be a fun celebration luncheon.
Yeah, that'll be great. We're looking forward to that. So, so you're recognizing the month this way. I think it's really important for people to know that we have a lot of programs in our human services department, and this is one critical piece where we can help children get the needed financial help that they deserve. If you have a kid, you have to be accountable to your child. So,
correct.
Are any parting things that we haven't talked about child support that you'd want people to know? Because I learned a lot, and we think we know and understand a program until you get down into the nitty gritty of it,
right?
And then you really learn the kinds of work that our employees are doing.
I guess one thing I would like to share is Child Support Services has a very good website that if you're not comfortable contacting our office right away, you might want to go on there. There's a lot of great information. It's www.childsupport.state.co.us. A lot of great information. You can peruse through that. You can apply for child support services there. And I would just encourage, if you do have questions, to just reach out to us anytime. We're very willing to talk about anything with or without a case.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if anybody has any questions on how to do this or why they should do it, reach out to Chris, or do you want to give your local number so that people could do that?
My direct line is 970-252-4227.
Great. So, again, it's these podcasts always enlighten me. Even though I've been here a while, you don't necessarily get to know each of the programs as deeply as you'd like. I think that at the heart of all our human services program are the kids and trying to help families be better families and do better things for their kids. So that's what I love about the human services. Even though some of the programs might seem, people think they're harsh, they're really to benefit the kids and the families. So
That's right.
Great. Well, I hope you learned a little bit about child support, a little bit more than you knew. And you can join us for these podcasts. We will delve into other nitty-gritty issues that you might be concerned about or interested in. So thank you for joining me today. It was
Yes,
a pleasure.
thank you, Sue. And I also wanted to say one more thank you to the commissioners here from Montrose County, because without their support, we wouldn't be able to do the great work that we do. So thank you.
Well, we're all the team. It's
Yes.
all the same team.
That's right.
One Montrose County.
Right.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.